Okay, I'll admit it. I've been wrong.
Wrong? What?
I've been giving out the wrong advice for years on annual meadow grass. Annual meadow grass is known as different grasses throughout the world. Doesn't matter if you're in Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand,
Everywhere.
France, Russia, yet it's a worldwide problem. It's also known as annual bluegrass,
Yeah,
bluegrass,
AMG,
AMG,
Poa.
Poa, yeah. We're probably just going to call it AMG for today. Now, it's easy to spot in a lawn because it's usually pale in colour.
But that's not Poa or AMG.
That's not AMG, that's a different type of wheatgrass. But don't worry, we're going to be covering that type of grass as well. Now, let's get on with it. So this lawn has a lot of Yorkshire Fog in it. The back lawn has a bit of everything in it. So let's go and have a look. This is a well-used lawn and I've just spotted a bit of Poa in it. You can see the Poa here. It's lighter in colour. It's got the seed head, the classic seed head on it. This video is in partnership with our friends over at Kress. So we're going to give you mowing advice to start with because that's going to be one of the biggest differentiators you can have on how to control weed grasses in your lawn. So ugly weed grasses such as Poa are going to grow around the edges of the lawn first of all. Where the swing was here, round the edge, I can see lots of seed heads. This weed grass here on the front lawn, this is called Yorkshire Fog. My top tip for getting rid of Yorkshire Fog in your lawn is to take a spade or a trowel and dig it out. Lawn mowing isn't really going to have that big a factor on it. The other methods that we use to control Poa Annua doesn't really work the same. I'm going to show you a drawing of that very shortly to explain that more in detail. I'm going to talk about the most expensive mistake you can make whenever you get weedgrass in your lawn, but that's coming up very soon. Cutting your lawn has the biggest impact on weeds and weedgrasses coming into your grass. I recommend that you cut your grass between, for most everyday lawns, 25 to 50 mil, and cutting it on a regular basis is going to have the biggest impact because your grass is going to be able to outgrow the Poa. Lots of people think that they should cut their grass really short. Now, I was a greenkeeper for 20 years before I've been doing this for over a decade now, and we used to cut greens at below 3 mil, which is a tiny, tiny amount. Poa will grow quite happily at shorter lengths. So if we leave our grass longer, then it helps stop not only weed grasses, but weeds coming into the lawn. Now, that's particularly true for Poa, but unfortunately, less so for the Yorkshire Fog. To understand our enemy and how grass grows, I'm going to do some simple drawing. Now, my drawing isn't the best, so don't hold this against me. But whenever you understand how the grass grows, then you'll understand the process behind how we get rid of it. So with our whiteboard here, this is going to be really basic. This lawn here, this line here, this represents the lawn, and here we have the soil. Big particles, small particles, right? And then we have our grass growing up. Now, this is an oversimplification here. And then at the bottom we have our crown. So this is like our ryegrass, some fescues, some of the American grasses, the Kentucky bluegrass like this. The grass structure is a bit different. And then we have the finer grasses, so the likes of our bent grasses, which are smaller plants, and the crown's at the bottom. Now, some of them have rhizomes that grow underneath the ground and then pop up and they form new plants. So that will be for the Kentucky bluegrass as well, or bent grass, and for the likes of brown top bent would have the rhizomes, and some of the fescues, and then mostly the more aggressive bent grasses also have stolons. So you have the grass growing that way, your small plants grass growing that way from the bottom, crown at the bottom, crown at the bottom, but then they spread by stolons which are above ground and then pop up new plants. They they are particularly aggressive form of growing, and that's why we really don't recommend them for lawns. The purists will tell you that verticutting doesn't work on normal lawns. It's designed for these types of grasses here, because what the verticutting does, it comes along and it cuts those blades, so it's particularly good at thickening up your lawn. And that's why they say these grasses here are self-thickening up, because it has the rhizomes and the stolons, and that's what spreads and thickens up. Whereas this here is more of a, these are more of a bunch forming grass. We'll go on over to here and we'll have our weed grass. So more, this is more for the Poa Annua, less so for the Yorkshire Fog. So the Poa Annua, it doesn't grow up, and it doesn't grow up like that. It grows more like that. It grows out. If you ever look at Poa, it's like that. Your other grasses sit like that, whereas the Poa sits like that, and it's really hard to cut. So that's why it can grow really, really short, and the crown sits at the bottom. So it goes up, goes up. So we come along with the verticutter. I'm going to show you now. So if on, come on over, Jason. So there's this tool here, which is more like a scarifier. The manufacturer calls that an aerator, don't know why, but that's more of a scarifier. What you would typically see, in the past I've always used the scarifier to scarify my lawn until I got the verticutter. This here isn't for that purpose at all. This is more like a power rake. So this tool here is called a verticutter, and this is absolutely key to what we're talking about. The blades are close together, they're very sharp. This is unlike the scarifier, where the scarifier is designed to get right down into the soil or tip the soil. The verticutter, if you're using a verticutter and it's touching the soil, then you're doing it wrong. So if we bring this over, so our verticutter is going to come along and it's going to cut. Verticutter comes along and cuts. And it cuts here and it cuts here and it cuts the whole way across here. But so it's cutting the tops of them, and it's cutting it might be cutting the rhizomes as well, and then these all naturally thicken up, and it cuts the ryegrass, and it's not doing the ryegrass any harm. But what it does is, because the way the grass grows with the Poa, because it grows flat, but whenever you cut, you're opening up the crown, which is this area here, and that's where you're damaging it. So you're damaging the crown whenever you verticut, and even on a normal lawn. So yes, especially so on an ornamental lawn, but on an ordinary lawn, you're damaging that crown by scarifying through it. And the reason why you're not hurting this grass is because the crown sits a bit below, and that's the reason why it doesn't particularly work that well on the Yorkshire Fog, because the Yorkshire Fog, the crown's actually sitting a bit lower, and it's really hard to protect. You can, if you want to use the verticutter on your Yorkshire Fog, you just need to set it a bit lower, but then you risk also damaging the other grass in your lawn, so maybe you want to do that local. We'll have a wee look at that shortly. With this scarifier, we can actually custom fit different attachments to it. The biggest issue with annual meadow grass is that it seeds all year round. However, in May, you start to see all the seed heads all over your lawn, and that's whenever you can really see it in your lawn. I get a lot of comments on my videos on that time. You want your grass actively growing whenever you're doing the verticutting, so May is a really good time to start into it. And then later on we're going to be talking about feeding, because there's some pros and cons to feeding, but more on that later.
So whilst we're verticutting, we're going to use this grass box. We don't usually use it, but the verticutting doesn't take out as much material, and we want to catch all of those seed heads.
Have a look across the lawn. It doesn't look like it's been scarified, but you can see that it's starting to lift up all these bits of grass. This is actually the third box that we've taken from the lawn. Just amazing amount of stuff that's come out, and you wouldn't even really think to look at the rest of the lawn. So our next job, we're going to give this another cut, because we know that all that grass is sitting up, so it's a really good opportunity. Cutting your lawn, you always want to cut at the right height. If you don't know the height of your lawnmower, it'll either be in the manual, but another really simple way is just to drop a tape measure down into the lawn, and that'll give you a pretty accurate reading for your everyday lawn. There's other things we can do to help stop the weed grasses from coming in. Overseeding your lawn is really good because it helps your grass combat weed grasses. However, as we get further into the summer, you're going to have less chance to overseed your lawn, but doesn't mean to say that you can't target any bare patches, or maybe you've got manhole covers where around the edges, those areas will be particularly weak. That's what we're going to do next. And then after that, we're going to talk about feeding, because feeding has pros and cons. Jason doing the work as ever. areas like this here, it's important that you keep them watered during the dry spells so as the grass grows. But in general, I'm going to get the whiteboard out. Time for a bit more bad drawing. So, doesn't matter what type of grass it is really. We have our normal grass with our crown, grass coming out. Most grasses have a deeper root system. Poa Annua grows like this here, and then the grass goes out, as we were saying earlier. But key or crucially, the roots don't go that deep. So whenever you're going to water your lawn, deep, infrequent watering is far better than watering your lawn every day if you want to combat the annual meadow grass, the weed grass. So whenever the water comes down, deep, infrequent watering means that it's going to push down further into the soil, and it's going to encourage the roots to go deeper into the ground. Your Poa Annua isn't going to compete with that because the roots are here and they're not going to go very deep. That's why aeration, it's good because it opens up soil compaction and it helps air, water and light get down in there and encourages the deeper roots. I like to think of your lawn as being an iceberg. Most people don't think about. So your lawn is this bit here. That's the bit you see. But really, your lawn is, you're only seeing a third of it. We're going to cover this later on. Later on in the year, I'm going to be doing more free courses. We have the free course on how to fertilise your lawn, but I'm going to be diving on the learning hub. I'm going to be diving more into courses like this and teaching you really practical, easy ways to understand how your grass grows. But think of your grass as an iceberg. You only see one third of it, and on down where the root systems live. And whenever you're watering your lawn, you're encouraging that deep water. And whenever you do that, you're going to naturally starve this of water. Should you feed your grass or not? So this bit of grass is a prime example of if you should or if you shouldn't. There's been a lot of studies done, but mostly golf greens from Penn State University about how nitrogen and potash, especially nitrogen, can encourage Poa on a golf green. However, your lawn isn't a golf green. It's a lawn and it's cut totally different and it's got different grasses. Now, appreciate for the ornamental lawn brigade, the purists, this advice is going to be different. And again, we're going to do, I've got a free course coming on this later on in the year. We're going to be diving into this in more detail. However, for an everyday lawn, and if you're watching this and if you're wondering, do I have an ornamental lawn or do I have an ordinary lawn? If you have to ask, then there's probably a good chance that you have an ordinary lawn. This bit of grass here is a clear indication of why you should feed your grass, because it thins out and you can see all the weeds and the weed grasses coming into it.
If you've got an everyday lawn, let's grow some carpet.
Stop. If you're going to kill off your lawn this year to get rid of the weed grasses, Poa Annua, Annual Meadow Grass, AMG, I'm going to show you exactly why you shouldn't do it. Every year, we kill off this bit of ground and we sow a new lawn into it, and you'll never guess what's in it. AMG here, AMG here, AMG here, AMG here, AMG everywhere. We kill this test patch off at least once a year, and we've been doing it for the last few years, and there's still weed grasses all through it. So if you're thinking about killing off your lawn to get rid of weed grasses, don't do it.